episode 6.
Number 6.
Let's talk about 6, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that we talk about.
Let's talk about 6.
Let's talk about 6. Welcome to the podcast,
Hello.
everybody. Not quite sure why we decided to sing there, but why not? It's a Friday evening. It's the middle of winter. There's a few beers going down the neck. We might as well.
There's no sprouts for the long listeners. There's been no sprouts, no updates on that.
For those of you who've never listened to before, Sprout, for those of you who have not listened before, my good friend Cornish Snow here is an expectant father, and he will be his first child. They have been referring to said bump.
And I have been practicing dad jokes for years.
You have been practicing dad jokes for years.
On the note of dad jokes, we usually end the episode on some dad jokes, but let's start with one, shall we?
Sure, why not?
Why do pirates... No.
Why do pirates know? Why do pirates know what?
I should know the joke before I say it.
You should know the joke before you should say it, but you know what? It's okay. Take 2.
Why do pirates not know the alphabet?
I don't know. Why do pirates not know the alphabet?
Because they get stuck at sea.
Oh dear.
Dear. Shall we?
Shall I tell them Braden's joke?
Yes. Yeah. So Braden will be a potential special guest for an Easter episode.
Yes.
Hopefully.
7-year-old joke telling Braden. He told me 2 today. The first one was,
which are already miles better than mine.
I mean, I feel like I'm stealing his thunder by telling these jokes, but by the time he comes on the podcast, he will have a lot more. So the first one is, why are chickens so smart? Because. And that made me laugh. And then his other one was, why is there no medicine in the jungle? Because the parrots eat them all. Or parrots eat them all. The delivery, it's all about the delivery.
Good.
We'll leave it to the 7-year-old. Because when the 7-year-old tells them, he then rolls around in fits of laughter. But yeah, gotta love a dad joke.
Shall we head down to the fish pond of feedback,
I would
Craig?
absolutely love to head down to the fish pond of feedback.
Lovely. So grab your little worm, attach it to your fishing line, and let's head down to the fish pond of feedback. So, Craig.
Yes, Daniel.
So, Mr. Hodgkiss.
Yes.
Well, actually, for our new listeners, do you want to explain what we do?
Oh, we can do. Yes. So we take a virtual trip down to a pond, because we are, first look gnomes, ponds, fishing rods, and all that jazz. We have been doing this podcast now, as William said at the start, episode 6, really episode 7, because there was a Christmas special. Go back and listen to it if you haven't. And we are lucky enough to have some people from around the world who comment on the podcast.
Global.
We are a global podcast. Some people send us emails. Some people send us messages through the various podcast channels. Some of it is good, and some of it is just abuse. So we go down to the fishing pond and we see what people have said.
And what do we do on our actual podcast?
Oh, on our actual podcast, we talk nonsense. We this is our way of getting together every couple of weeks, having a few beers, putting the world to rights. And generally, as we call First Look Gnomes, we take a first look at something. So
We do.
Cornish Dan will bring something to the table that he has seen that has made him laugh or made him think or he's enjoyed, and he will tell us about it. It's usually something we haven't seen before, and vice versa. Then I'll have a crack, and we just basically talk about it. And you never know, somebody might think. Last time on the New Year's episode, we were looking at movies that were coming out, and
listen to previous episodes about Cornish knockers.
Cornish knockers, yes, that was a good one.
Kidney stones.
Kidney stones, that's right.
Wookiee erotica. All sorts of fun.
Wookiee erotica.
All sorts of fun.
Favourite Wookiee erotica. Yes, that's definitely worth a Google. Not with your wife present.
No. So, we're at the pond.
Hello, pond.
We have an email, Mr. Hodgkiss. We have an email.
An email, very good.
We have an email. Subject line. Thank you! Exclamation mark.
Oh, wow. No, thank you.
Morning, you two. I felt I had to write to thank you for keeping me company in the wee small hours last night as I battled my insomnia. Listening to you both rambling on about your first looks was a delight.
Oh, very nice.
Unfortunately, you both have quite infectious giggles, which set me off, particularly during Dan's description of his nasal dilators.
That was a good one, to be honest.
Craig, I'm anxiously... I can't speak. I'm
You're yanking. What are you yanking? Don't yank. Not on the podcast, Williams. Stop yanking.
I don't know why I'm struggling this word. Craig, I'm anxiously...
Very good, well done.
Awaiting... Thank you. I'm anxious... I'm anxiously...
Go on, Williams.
I'm not even drinking it. I'm on zero alcohol. Craig, I'm anxiously awaiting an update on your 6mm kidney stone.
Oh.
Or did I miss it?
No.
I too have had brackets, or maybe still have brackets, 2 kidney stones. So you have my sympathy. Thanks for the joy from Dan's future mother-in-law and soon-to-be grandma to Sprout.
Oh, very good. It's very nice to have your email, and I can give you an update on said kidney stones. I am going for a scan, so I've got to go for a second CT scan in 14 days. No, 13 days. And they will tell me I've been on a very nice drug called Tamfrax or Tamulocin, which loosens everything up down there.
That's to shrink it.
No, they can't really shrink them as such. It makes the...
So trying to open the passage.
Yeah, it makes the tubes a bit more supple. And yes, we shall see if it's passed or if it's still there. And if it is still there, they have informed me they're going to have to go in and get the bugger. Which, when they go in, what do we say? Get your little worms. They enter via little worm, and they go fishing in the pond of kidneys, and zap the little bugger and get all the bits of stone
so
out.
A couple of weeks. You said.
So
a couple of weeks for the scan. But
I have to have the scan,
then we'll see.
Then they will decide what the next course of action is. But they said if it hasn't passed by then, they will go in and get it, because there's a risk of it actually causing a bit of a blockage and pressure building up behind the kidney, and then you can get septic and all sorts. So they're like, no, if it won't pass on its own, we'll go in and get it. Up the goat. So that'll be fun. That'll be a good episode of the podcast.
Yeah, well, so next episode, so it could be a mixture of a first look at a birth of a baby Sprout and a first look at a baby kidney stone. So,
something comes out, something goes in.
Yes. Right.
Well done on saying the word anxious. Anxiously.
No, I'm not going to try that. Let's give up on that one.
Thank you for the feedback.
And welcome. We've got some new listeners or downloaders. We've got one from Mevertidville.
Where, sorry?
Am I pronouncing it right? The Welsh place. Mevertidville.
I am anxiously waiting you say this, Williams. Say it again.
Mevertidville. Mevertidville.
Why
am I struggling so much today?
Mevertidville.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Hello, Mevertidville.
Yeah. Not Titville.
Not Titville, no, that's something completely different.
So welcome to them. Newton Abbey.
Newton Abbey, no way.
Newton Abbey, Antrim and
That's right,
Newton
that's
Abbey.
up the road from me, yeah.
Well, that's probably someone you know then, isn't it?
Don't tell anybody about this podcast, Williams. I don't try and promote this podcast. I try and keep it well and truly hidden.
It might actually be you, actually, maybe. It's...
Okay, well, no, Newton Abbey's too far away.
Is that close? Oh, okay.
No, that's...
And Surrey in British Columbia.
Surrey in British Columbia. That's another Canadian, isn't it? We
had another British Columbia.
We had
Abbotsford,
Abbotsford, yeah. Surrey's about 10 miles away from Abbotsford. So,
It might be the same place, but just triggered a different location.
or it could be somebody has.
So it could be a repeat listener.
Could be a recommendation. Can you imagine that? We have Canadians telling Canadians.
Viral in British Columbia.
That's it. That's two. We've got 2 Canadians listening to the podcast. We can effectively retire now.
How many British Columbian listeners do we need for us to head over for a tour?
6. I think if we do 6, we
Lovely.
can do a book signing, and we can do it. We can do a special. Yeah, we can drink that beer we talked about. We were talking before the podcast listeners about beer from British Columbia. There's one for our Canadian listeners. We are big fans of the Granville Island Lions Winter Ale.
Big fans.
And there's another one from the Whistler Brewing Company called Chestnut Ale, Chestnut Trail Ale. Big fans of that as well. So if any Canadian listeners can get hold of any and want to post it over to us, we would be very grateful. If not, we'll come over and see you, sign some merchandise, and do a podcast from the wonderful British Columbia. That would be...
We anxiously wait on...
It's easier to say British Columbia than Nevertidville.
It's not Titville.
No, Tidville. Tidville.
And that's the Pond of Feedback.
Lovely. And yes, in these cold times, it's nice to be able to get down to the bottom of the garden without falling and breaking your neck. Thank you for the feedback, everybody.
Especially in Titville.
Especially in Titville.
It's, yeah. I was going to say some sort of joke, don't go there then cold, but, you know.
No, don't do it, Williams.
No.
Stay classy.
No, stay classy, San Diego. First look, Greg.
First look.
What have you got
Do you
for
want me to
us?
go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a couple, but we'll see how we get on. But I'll start with this one. So today I'm bringing to the table a first look at HBO's latest TV series, The Last of Us.
Ooh.
I don't know if you know anything about this, but
I do. I've watched 10 minutes.
Have you watched 10 minutes of it?
So no spoilers.
Okay.
But you can.
Okay. So for a bit of context for the listeners. I do like a bit of PlayStation. We recently bought a PlayStation, and I tried to say it was definitely for the child, not for me at all. Probably in my top 3 video games of all time. So they've now made it into a TV series, and I'm a little bit anxious because it's a story. I know it just looks like a zombie thing, but the actual story in that game and the characters are just brilliant. So I loved the story playing through it. And I remember when I'd finished it, I remember saying to Leslie Ann for about a week, Bab, it's just, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. It was like, and then the next day I woke up and I was like, I still can't believe it. Bab, I can't believe it. And this just went on. So it was one of those stories that once I finally got to the end of the story, and again, no spoilers, but once I got to the end of the story, I was like, I can't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. It was so good, such an enjoyable game to play, but not because of the actual video game itself. Like a lot of games,
the story.
It was the story and it was the characters. And I remember, so to give you a few facts when it was about The Last of Us. So the video game came out in 2013. And
really?
Yeah, it's a 10-year-old video game.
Really?
Came out on the PlayStation 3 originally, and we're now on the PlayStation 5. So I played it. I didn't have a PlayStation 3. I had an Xbox 360, but I did get a PlayStation 4, and I bought it with The Last of Us Remastered, which was the first time I'd ever played it. And then they had some downloadable content, and there was extra kind of stories you could download, and it really was, at the time, I remember saying this is up there with Zelda as the best game ever. And in terms of a story and characters, it really was probably, and still is, probably the best video game I've ever played. So it's one of those things, I feel quite attached to the video game and the actors and actresses who played the characters in the game, because obviously as well now, video games, they're a bit like a movie. Now obviously it doesn't look as realistic, but you know, the set pieces,
probably bigger budgets these days.
They make more money, I think, than movies these days. But in terms of the as I say, the voice actors, the character animation, the storytelling, the emotion that it brings, it's just like one of those things that I would always say that's brilliant.
So you're anxiously waiting.
Well, I've watched the first episode.
For the show.
So I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, I like the people who are in it. So the two main characters, to give you a bit of context, came out in 2013. This won't ruin anything for anybody, but the premise is that it's sort of very early that they're, it's quite harrowing now with just having come out of a pandemic as well. The story is based around a fungal pandemic that basically obliterates humanity, leaves very few people standing. And the people who are standing, the last of the people, they obviously
The Last of
Us. That's it. So after this pandemic, it's still going on. There are zombies involved. There are like the undead, effectively, who are used to help spread this disease further. And the story is about how humanity gets on post pandemic, and there is still politics at play. There are vigilante groups, there are anti-establishment groups, there is military, and in the middle of all this there is a main character, a man called Joel, and he is tasked with trafficking a young girl across the states. I won't go into too much more detail, but the story follows her, follows their story. Why is she being shipped? Why is she so important? All this kind of stuff. And there's a backstory because, the man in question, Joel, he had a daughter, and you learn about that in the first 10 minutes. I'm sure you've seen it, Williams. So it's just a brilliant story. So having watched the first episode of the new HBO one, it's good to see that they stayed very, very true to the original script and story. Like, I was watching it, and like a lot of the shots are the same shots from the video game.
That's good.
The music was a big part of the video game. The kind of eerie guitar music, and they've kept that in. And it was very good. I was very happy with the first episode. It's a funny one when you see other people playing a character you know so well. It's a bit like, I don't like it. But for those of you seeing Game of Thrones,
so your first look gnomes review, are the trousers fully up, or a bit of bum crack, or?
I am. Yeah, it's not rubbish at all. I'm interested to see how it goes. It looks like they've put a lot of money into it. There's obviously a lot of Game of Thrones people.
Still too early to tell?
But I am going to watch it. If you've not played the video game, watch it. You may love it, you may hate it. Leslie Ann, my wife, watched it with me. She was a bit like, she doesn't want to watch it because she doesn't like scary things. No. But she watched the first episode and she was a bit like, yeah. But she remembers me talking about it a lot as well. So she remembered a lot of the story because I had to just be like, I don't believe it. So she knew a lot of the story, or knows a lot of the story. But it's good to see as well. They've obviously, so the title credits, they've obviously used the same people who did Game of Thrones. A lot of the cast are from Game of Thrones. It's obviously got that high budget feel. Like the first episode was like a movie.
That did all right, didn't it?
It did do all right, it did. So I'm happy to see that they've obviously put a lot into it. The girl who's playing Ellie, so Ellie is just a brilliant character, and the actress they've got playing her, her character in...
was from Game of Thrones.
She was from Game of Thrones, and in Game of Thrones she was just brilliant. She was such a little badass. So she's been cast...
The Bear Island lady of Bear Island.
Something like that, yes. But she's well cast. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'd recommend anybody who is like, oh, it's another zombie thing, watch it, because it's not really about the zombies. It's about the characters, and if they do the original game script justice, it will evolve into being a very good series. So yeah, that's my first look, Williams.
Yeah.
The Last of Us.
Yeah, I watched 10 minutes of it, but...
Give it a go. Give it a go.
I will.
As I say, top 3 games of all time. Best video game story I've ever played.
Top 3 games of all time?
Yes.
So what's in the top 3?
God of War, number 1. The first God of War is the best video game I've ever played. Without a shadow of a doubt. Another great story. Just, brilliant. Second, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time from the Nintendo 64. And then Last of Us would probably be third, yeah? Yeah.
Gosh. Good top 3.
Good top 3. And I've played a lot of video games, Williams.
You have.
I've spent far too much time playing video games. So...
Oh, but in your top 3, there used to be Metroid.
Metroid Prime, yeah,
Metroid Prime. Has that been knocked out top 3?
Metro Prime, yeah, it's not. Yeah, Metro Prime and that Metro Prime trilogy. That trilogy was just brilliant. But it's that was just a video game. That was just fun action. These new games, the ones with the God of War and Last of Us, the reason they're so good is because of the story. It's just awesome.
I think this is where my future mother-in-law switched off. To be honest,
sorry. Anyway, we shall move on. So, what's your first look, Williams?
My first look. My first looks they tend to be quite
quirky, unique.
It's a bit of a quirky one. But also a bit of just an interesting fact to explore, question to ask, and find out what the answer is, really. So I've not had a Google or anything, it's just something that came up. So the question is basically around when you became a mister. So
okay.
So basically, the phenomenon of going from a master or master, however you pronounce it, to a mister, because we got a card the other day and it was addressed to Master Sprout, and that made me think about, because I remember when I was a kid and used to get letters, I know Braden does, addressed to Master Dan. So when do you become a mister?
When do you become I don't know. I mean, it depends on. You can ask lots of questions around that. When do you
become a mister when you stop getting letters addressed to yourself as Master Craig?
There's probably an actual genuine answer to this, because there's I would imagine.
So I just remember gradually my post started changing from Master Williams to
Mister.
To Mister.
Maybe it's when you become a teenager. Maybe it's when you become legally able to vote, so the age of 16. Maybe it's when you're classed as a fully grown adult at the age of 18.
Because with the better sort of the female species, they're Miss, but obviously it's quite archaic in terms of they don't get their Mrs. status until they get married.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Whereas Master kind of it dies out at some point, and you turn into a Mister. So when did you become a Mister, Craig?
Well, I remember this leads me to a very funny story. My mom used to be a
quite a random one. Sorry,
it's funny. So my mom. Now, for anybody who is listening, I'll give you a bit of backstory about my mom. She's lovely. She's innocent. She's not.
Your mum didn't become a Mister, did she?
No, but she She was possibly a bit naive. Just a lovely woman, nice woman, my mom.
She's a lovely woman.
She'd do anything for anybody. And she was a dental nurse. So she used to work in a dentist, and she used to help the nurses. The dentist, sorry. And one of her jobs was to go out and to call the patients. And her colleagues decided to play a trick on my poor innocent mother, and said, "Oh, Barbara, can you go out into the reception, please? And the next one is it's masturbates. Can you go and ask for masturbates?" For masturbates. So my mom, innocent, comes in.
Oh, bless her.
Excuse me, it masturbates. Masturbates. Is there a masturbates here? Anybody? I'm looking for masturbates. Nobody came forward. Mom clued in what was going on and turned away. So
yeah, we had similar at school. So that's the point. So yeah, we're definitely still masters in year 8 at school, because in RS religious studies, I really can't speak tonight. Religious studies. What's the teacher called again?
Mrs. Anxiously?
I can't remember. But she always referred to people as Master Williams, and especially when she got angry, was telling someone else, she's like, Master Williams. But in the class, there was a kid called Anthony Bates.
Very good.
And you can imagine all the kids at year 8 just burst out laughing, which just shouts across the room.
Master Bates. Oh dear. So even now, that's still funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
It's childish. It's immature.
But
Hilarious.
yeah, but looking back now, I do feel sorry for the woman. Bless her. You know, she was
Think
also
about the
quite
poor
angry.
kid,
And,
Anthony. He was called Masturbates in front of all his mates.
from memory, he found it hilarious. So.
Well, I don't.
But yeah. So we got our first card free for Sprout at Christmas.
Oh, very good.
We actually got about 4 Christmas cards. I think yours was one of them. About 2 weeks after Christmas.
Yeah, we got one. Brain got one from Morgs and Saz. And I think it didn't get here till like January the 9th or something. I was like, oh my goodness.
All the postal strikes, I suppose.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But, So when do you
become a master? The honest answer is, Williams, I don't know. I would imagine if I was to Google it, I would presume it's when you turn 16, you become a mister. But I don't know. But it is one of those things. You're like, who set the rules for that? Why do we still follow the rules for it? What's the crack? I just don't know, Williams. But
when did you become a mister from Master UK? I've not googled this because. Master is a title for an underage male. Once a person turns 18 and enters adulthood, Mister would be used.
Very good.
All right, but
people used to get married a lot younger as well back in the day. So Miss and Mrs. probably was about 18 as well because they'd have been go out and have some babies.
Yeah, I guess it was.
It was different back in the day as well, Williams. You see,
it was.
You couldn't fornicate and have children out of wedlock and all that kind of jazz. It would have been frowned upon. So people got married a lot earlier because they'd be horny. Would you marry me? How old are you? I'm 13. Yes, let's get married quick. Goodbye, mother. I'm off to have children. What's your name again?
I'm gonna have to edit that out.
Oh, it's fine. People will understand. It was history's history, Williams. You can't cancel history.
It is.
Let's not get onto cancel culture and cancelling everything that's ever been.
Let's not get
onto that.
So,
you can't cancel 13-year-olds getting married and having kids. It's just how it was, Williams.
So but that's the first. It was the first Christmas card addressed to Master
very
Sprout,
sweet.
So. It will be Mr. Sprout in 18 years.
It will be Mr. Sprout in about 18 years. Can you believe that? In 18 years, you're going to have an 18-year-old kid.
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. I mean, it's just maths and time, but still it is mind-blowing. Do you reckon we'll still...
Have you got another first
I will, yeah, but do you think we'll still be doing this podcast in 18 years' time?
Who knows? I didn't think we'd actually do a podcast. So the fact we're still here in episode 6 is... No, it's fun, though, isn't it?
That's great fun, yeah.
It's fun. Yeah,
and I'm sure the listeners are eagerly awaiting the safe arrival of Sprout.
Yes. So if you want more episodes, rate, review, subscribe, download... Send us funny
crap in emails.
Email us, firstlipgnomes@outlook.com.
Do you have any masturbate stories? Send them in. Title your email, masturbates. We'll open it. Anyway.
Anyways.
Yes, I do have another look, Williams. I do have another look. It's only a little one. But it's a first look at the.
Put the worm away. We're not at the pond.
No, we're not at the hospital getting your kidney stone sorted. Put the worm away. This one is our first look at the road to Super Bowl.
The road.
So
the road to
Super Bowl. Okay. So for those of you who are not fans of the NFL, we're in the post-season at the minute. So the regular season happens from September, usually to around the...
So we're now in the playoffs?
We are now in the playoffs, yeah. We are in the 2023 NFL playoffs. So the regular NFL season starts in September and runs right through to usually the first week in January, and then post that you have the playoffs. So this is 3 weeks that take us then to the Super Bowl, which is, I believe, at the start of February this year, not the end of January. And yes, I've been eagerly anticipating this. So I am what is known. I'm a very casual NFL
Go
fan.
Seahawks.
Go Seahawks is right. So me and Cornish Stan have been to the NFL in Wembley. I took my dear wife to see some NFL in Wembley. She got to see Tom Brady. It got to half time. She thought the game was finished, and then I said, "No, that's just half time, Bab." She cried. She was like, "I don't believe it, Bab. I don't believe it." And I made her sit there for even longer. But we are. Yeah, I am not one of these people. So they're at.
Well, the game we watched went to the final kick of the
It was
game.
a great game. It was Can you remember who played? No. It was. We watched Detroit Lions versus Arizona Cardinals.
Yes, I do know.
And it was a fact. We were cheering for Detroit Lions, and Detroit Lions won. It was a very good game.
And Little Mix on at half
Got
time.
to see Little Mix, which was good. Yeah, a little bit of Little Mix. And so yes, this season we are into the playoffs now. As I say, I am what is called a casual NFL fan. I do not stay up till midnight every week watching games like some of them. I do not know every stat.
No,
I do not know every play. I have friends who talk about NFL, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because they just know everything. I think you get British people who are into NFL, like me, who are like, yeah, it's good fun. I enjoy watching it. It's a great way to spend a few hours. And then you get hardcore NFL fans who are like, I can't believe that happened. Why is he not playing him as quarterback? It should be him. And like, it's just people take it very seriously. I do not take it very seriously. I'm quite casual, but I do enjoy the sport of NFL. And as a Seattle Seahawks fan, it's always good when your team gets to the postseason. So this year they did.
And
they did, yes. They scraped through by the skin of their teeth, and they played in the wild card match last weekend against San Francisco. I did stay up with Leslie Ann, and we did watch the game, and we predicted that the Seahawks would get absolutely spanked. And they did what all teams, good teams do, and they got to half-time in the lead and gave us hope. Then the second half, they got spanked and got absolutely destroyed. But the Seahawks were there, and now they're gone. San Francisco move on. This weekend, so we have a couple of friends come around tomorrow night to watch Kansas City and the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So looking forward to that. But yeah, we're down to the final 8 teams now.
So is that early hours? Is
So
it like
no, the one tomorrow night pick up at 9:30 tomorrow night. It'll go until probably about 12:30.
time.
Yeah, about 3 hours generally for the game. So we'll have a couple of beers tomorrow night and watch the match, and just see who wins. I'm kind of cheering for the Jaguars because 2 reasons. One, because the Jaguars are the team that always come to London and are known as London's team.
Yeah, because the Jaguars, wasn't the rumour that the Jaguars will end up full-time in London?
Yeah, so
and refranchised or whatever.
So it's very different to like football or soccer in the United Kingdom, where Manchester United could never go and decide to suddenly start, or it would be very rare for the likes of Manchester United to become Newcastle United or Newcastle City or something. The teams are rooted in the community in the cities. In the NFL, it's the franchise, and the franchise can move between cities. So, you'll have, at the minute, for example, it's the Las Vegas Raiders, whereas before it was the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Raiders, and, they kind of move depending on how much money they are making, I guess, and how much money they could potentially make. So it's very different. There's no relegation, it's the way they do it. They do a draft. So if effectively you're the worst team in the league, at the next draft you get the first pick, so you can try and pick the best players from the youth. So everybody gets a turn to be good, or that's the idea, I believe. So yeah, we're down to the last 8 teams, and we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills playing each other. We've got the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, and we've got the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. So it's going to be interesting. I am predicting that it's going to be a Bills versus Eagles Super Bowl in a couple of weeks.
Okay. You've heard it
here first. The Bills versus the Eagles. I think Kansas City will win our game tomorrow night. Looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, football game, NFL football.
Yeah.
So yeah, Road to Super Bowl. It's on.
Yeah, let's go to Super Bowl final one day. But,
I can never stay up and watch the Super Bowl. Every year I try. We went to a Super Bowl party once. You remember, Wells? That was my birthday. Yeah, we went. And do you remember the cheerleaders who were sat at a time?
Yes, I do.
So we went to. It was my birthday. I think it was my 30th birthday. If memory serves me correct.
It was longer ago than that, I think.
No, I don't think it was.
No?
I'm sure we can find out with again a bit more googling.
Yeah.
But it was the Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos.
Ooh.
And we went to a pub in London to watch it till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And there were cheerleaders and there was NFL fans and it was woo woo woo, and you're like, yeah, this is brilliant. And then you get to 2:30 in the morning and you're like, I'm really tired. Are you having a good time? What? Yeah. I'm not drunk and sleepy. I've not been drinking since 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, that's the problem with drinking as well. It's like, oh.
That's right. Have some.
Where's the kebab and chips?
Have some Red Bull. You'll be fine. Okay. So it's quite hard to watch NFL. Again, the people who do it religiously and weekly, fair play to them. It's a good casual sport.
Yeah, if you work night shifts and you get home and it's on.
Yeah, that's it. But it would be good to go and watch an actual Super Bowl one day. But I think it's on so many people's bucket lists. The cost involved and the chance of getting tickets are going to be so slim.
Yeah.
But hey ho, who's your favourite halftime performer, Williams? That's what a lot of people care about, isn't it?
My favourite halftime performer. I don't really know. The halftime performer. I mean, the famous one before our time was Michael Jackson with his jetpack, and then he flipped. That's one of the famous ones, isn't it?
Prince did one. He was pretty famous for it.
Yeah. The more recent ones don't really stand out.
That's all shitty pop stars. So they had like Black Eyed Peas who were all last year's. Yeah. So last year they had like a hip hop R&B set up. So it was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and
I think I might have heard of that.
50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. So that was quite different.
Who's this year doing
it? It's Rihanna this year.
Okay.
But yeah, it tends to be big American pop stars. So Beyonce did it. She did a good job.
And it used to be all talking about the first look at the first Super Bowl advert. Because they used to spend so much money, so like we do at Christmas and the John Lewis adverts. It's the same for them with the halftime advert.
Yeah, it really is, because it's some again. It's just one of these sensationalized stats. I don't know if it's true, but it's like something like 10 million for 30 seconds or something.
Probably.
And
more maybe.
Yeah, the adverts always get what. So you always know that because the next day you'll see what's the Pepsi halftime show, and then you'll always be able to watch the top 10 Super Bowl adverts. And I always do, because American adverts can be quite good sometimes. I used to. So when we lived,
especially spending that amount of money.
Well, that's true. But we used to live in North America, in Canada, and we used to be like, God, some of these adverts are just awful. But then, like, the Super Bowl ones are generally pretty good. They've got such a big budget. Some of them they're a little bit self-indulgent and a bit sometimes they try too hard, but you have to watch.
I enjoy watching the medicine adverts, the cheap budget. You can get these drugs, and then all the side effects go across the screen.
Are you having erectile dysfunction? Try this lovely green pill. It's not the blue pill, it's the green pill. Try it. Can cause horns, can cause shitting yourself. You may grow tits.
You may die.
You may die, but you'll happen while doing it. Way, lads. America. So, yeah, but
apologies to our American fans, which are actually the majority of us.
I love Americans. Don't get me wrong. It's just the sometimes some of the culture's so different. Being British, and they look at American culture, and they, a lot of Americans will look at British culture and be like, "What the hell?" They just like our humour's so twisted and dark compared to American humour. Our attitude is very different. We're a lot more, generally Americans are so much more positive and kind of can-do and driven, and Brits are a bit more like,
Well, we're experts at sarcasm. I think that's something I noticed.
Never. Hey. See, Americans might not understand that. That was sarcasm. Like, bloody Brits and their sarcasm. But yeah. I apologise if that sounded patronising to any Americans who did get it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of an example. There's definitely occasions where I was sarcastic and it's like, oh no, that didn't actually land. Did it?
Yeah, it gets completely misread and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leslie Ann shared a joke. She shared a message with me earlier that she found hilarious, and it was a very Northern Irish joke. And I was like, that's not really funny. That's just a bit dark. And she's pissing herself laughing. And I'm like, and she looked at me and goes,
What's the punchline? I kill you.
It probably was something like that. Something about being hit with a wooden spoon or something. But I remember she was laughing. I was like, I don't think that's very funny. And she's like, you're so English. And I was like, and you're so Northern Irish. And the Americans can now be like, and you're so British. And we can be like, you're so American. But it's all banter and it's all love.
It is. It is.
Well, away from NFL, have you got another first look, or are you was your first look just literally a question about when do you become a master? When do you stop being a master and a mister?
Well, yeah. I mean, just to remind you, I thought I had my first look all set for this episode.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you've let your standard slip Williams with her.
I thought I'm going to show like a lovely, fresh baby boy.
Oh, okay.
And talk about that for an hour, but no, Sprout is not here yet. It's just a quick first look at. We had our first look at snow in Cornwall.
Oh, very good.
So not very exciting, but we had on Tuesday, was it? Tuesday.
Well, hang on a sec. Not very exciting.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that's part of the discussion, really. So it was exciting. Pretty to look at. But when you've got a 39-week pregnant fiance that you need to get to the hospital, especially when you're not, because I'm driving again.
Oh, bloody hell.
So watch it. Yes, actually.
Oh, wow, we could do a whole episode on your driving skills.
Yeah, so watch out, world. But if you add to that 6 inches, actual proper 6 inches of full-on snow, which we don't do snow in Cornwall because tropical paradise. But yeah, woke up to a proper fluffy 6 inches of snow, roads covered. Right.
So on one hand, you're like, oh, it's so pretty, it's wonderful. And on the other hand, you're like, oh, we're going to labour right now.
There's about a second of
Yeah.
So we were a bit anxiously waiting for the snow to melt. But yeah, that's quite the. It was only like a 24-hour thing.
Did you take the opportunity to go outside and make a snow Georgie?
Well, no. So Georgie was upset because she likes playing in the snow and she couldn't go outside because obviously it's really slippery and. So she was
didn't even go and make her like a sculpture
then,
of herself because No,
well, I was working, so I was in the shop office.
Bloody hellfire!
Yeah. So and then the phenomenon of Facebook lights up with everyone posting the Cornish photos of snow, as we do in England.
People lose their minds when it snows over here, don't they?
Yeah, it's snowing. Schools get closed. Absolute chaos.
How did your dog find it? Because dogs are like, our dog is always a little bit like, what's going on? Like, goes out with complete trepidation and is a bit like, I don't like this.
Yeah, no, it's quite funny because we open the door and he runs out into the snow. It's like, yeah, and he's like galloping around, and then you just see his face. It's cold, and then he just turns around, and then just like legs it back indoors. So he enjoyed it for a couple of seconds, but then realised it was freezing cold.
It's when the realisation hits him, like, I've got to squat and do a shit in this. Like, I'm going to get a very cold bottom.
Yes, and I thought it'd be easy to sort of, go and pick up his poop, and I thought it'd be quite easy, but no, it just sort of disappeared into the snow.
Dig for it, Daddy. Dig for it. Dig for shit.
Yeah, I pretty much was.
I don't know if it was pre-pod or post-pod. At some point, we have talked about the joys of a frost and dog poo, and how it's the only joyous things. The poopsicle. That was it. Yeah, I don't know if we did it on a podcast or a pre-podcast.
No, definitely did. No,
we definitely talked about it though. But it is one of those things when if you've missed
it seems like something we're talking about.
It is one of those things. If you've missed a day or two of getting up the poops, and you get a frost, it's like it's a real treat. Like, this is amazing.
Easy pickup.
What if, you know what? This could be an invention, Williams. So, like antifreeze,
Oh,
like a
so like
spray.
freeze it as...
You could be walking around, and instead of, you look at this sloppy muck, and you're like, oh, I don't want to pick that up. Spray it.
Instant freeze.
Instant freeze it. Pick it up.
That is, because sometimes you have a little poorly doggo, and it's like, oh, especially if, if he has to go on the pavement, that's, and it's got, poorly belly.
PoopFreeze. That's what you need.
Not great. PoopFreeze.
The good thing is as well, if you're one of them neighbours who likes to fling it over the fence, once it's frozen.
What, into the neighbour's garden?
Yeah. If you've got a neighbour who's a particular...
What do you mean if you're one of those neighbours? Is that you?
But there are people. You've seen it. Yeah, there are people. There are shit slingers everywhere.
I mean, my dad, at a place we had, which was overlooking a cow field, yes, we did flip.
Okay, so there you go. You said so shocked there.
But,
there are shit slingers around, be it into your neighbour who you dislike, or be it into a cow field. There are people who pick up poo and just go, you know what, like lasso it, cowabunga. Into the cow field,
Yeah, that's fine.
Cowabunga,
that's fine,
as it would be.
I mean, the cows might disagree, but I think that's fine. But I think your neighbours. I mean, you live in Belfast. You used to live in London. You're not going to start flicking poop next door.
I'm not saying me personally, Williams, but I'm just talking about people in general. People are dirty bastards. So if you've picked up a warm sloppy poop, and you're like, oh, no fun. You can't throw it very far either, because you try and throw it and you just get it down yourself. PoopFreeze. It's like a discus. You can get you can just count the fences. You're like, right. Launch it.
Is it sanitized as well? So can you pick up with your hand, or do you still use a bag? Or
you see, you could do the bag, then you tie the knot, and then you swing the bag. Launch that one, and just take that number 26, you bastards. It's just
Or if you upgrade to the fancy PoopFreeze, then you can have a drone. So a drone comes in. You got your location. With the PoopFreeze,
that'd be very accurate.
Use the what's it called? The 3 words. What's it called?
Oh yes, there's like 3 squares or something, and yeah.
So Jingles Poopy McGoop, and it knows where you are. Picks up the poop for you. Takes it away.
It's the future, Williams.
That's the future.
If there is no episode 7 of First Look Gnomes, it's because you'll find us on Amazon with First Look Poopy Freezy Spray. Perfect for launching at your neighbour's greenhouse when they've annoyed you. Or the drone system for the real posh people out there. The poop drone. JingleJangle Poopy. Pick it up, freeze it, take it away, put it on a boat, send it into the middle of the ocean. Instead of a plastic island, there's a dog
poop island.
Island of poop. There is the Isle of Dogs. I mean, next to it, the Isle of Dog poop.
The Isle of Dogs poop.
Like Italy and Sicily. Isle of Dogs, Isle of Dog poop. I'm not quite sure how we got onto this, Williams.
No, I don't.
What was your first look again? Go back to it. Oh, snow.
Snow. Yeah, the first look at snow this year in Cornwall.
First look at snow.
But, there we
I hope
go.
you've enjoyed the snow, wherever you may be.
Well, yeah.
Some of our listeners in Surrey, so my friend Anthony, who lives in Mission in BC, he sent me a picture recently, and it was, I think he...
Is he one of our listeners?
No, I've never told him about this podcast, but he might be. But he sent me a picture, and he said, "Yeah, fresh dump of snow." And I'm not kidding you, it looked like a foot. And I said, "How deep is that?" And I'm sure he said it was either 36 or 39 centimeters, like in one night. And yeah, that's deep. That's a lot of snow.
Yeah. And Cornwall shut down at 6 inches.
Yeah,
absolutely shut down.
We're just not made for it, are we, over here?
No.
Yeah, he complained, so he sent me that picture. Now, he was getting the bus, so he works at a Safeway, and he got the bus. They always waiting for the bus. You don't want to work the dangerous way, do you? So he's working at the Safeway over there, and he's getting the bus at like 5 o'clock in the morning. He said, the bloody bus didn't come. I'm like, I'm not surprised. Look at the snow, you moron. But he still had to get to work somehow, so yeah. They're made of stronger stuff in Canada, Wells.
They are.
Made of proper stuff. None of this 6 inches. Let's stop. They're like, no,
Yeah.
it's just a bit of snow.
6 inches is nothing, is it?
Not to the Canadians, no. They don't even start complaining until it gets to at least 2 foot. Then it's a slight inconvenience. But, it's what you do with the Count Williams.
Everything's bigger in Canada.
Everything's
isn't it?
bigger in
Canada. It's the time of the show where I do some dad jokes.
Some more dad jokes.
Well, I'm practicing. I'm practicing.
Can I give you a word of advice?
Yeah.
Actually, remember the joke before you tell it this time. For those who have managed to make it all the way to the end of the podcast, earlier on in the podcast, Williams tried to tell us a dad joke, but couldn't remember the joke. So just said something about, pirates? Pirates? And then paused. So, I mean, by all means, tell your dad jokes.
What is the pirate's favourite letter of the alphabet?
R.
No, the C.
That's the same punchline as you used on the other pirate joke.
I know.
Is every pirate joke you tell just end in the C, the C?
Yeah. How do birds fly?
Don't know.
They wing it.
Wait.
Okay.
I love your self-deprivation at the end of these. You tell these with such glee, but then we go, oh dear. Oh dear. I just said that out loud. Doesn't stop you though, does it?
No. It just encourages me to do more. What's the best thing about Switzerland?
Toblerone? I don't know. What's the best thing about Switzerland?
No, well, I don't know. But the flag is a big plus.
Very good. See, now again, I'm not stereotyping here. We have foreign listeners from around the world. They may not know what the Swiss flag looks like, so you may need to Google the Swiss flag to understand what that joke was.
Well, yeah, they don't deserve to laugh at the joke then. How do you make a tissue dance?
How do you make a tissue dance?
You put a little boogie in it.
Oh dear. Tissue? Is that, like a ring of roses? A tissue.
A tissue.
Is that meant to be a tissue? Is the sound that you make when you sneeze, or is a tissue as in the saying "I want the tissue"? A tissue. We
No,
all
tissue
pull
as
down.
in a tissue.
Is that what's called tissue? So a tissue. Is that what's called tissue paper?
Mind blown.
Couldn't it? Would make a lot of sense.
A tissue. No, it must be asking for a tissue. It's got to be.
Or maybe it's just a noise of
as
a
a kid,
tissue. A tissue. I'm sneezing. So
Yeah.
we need something to catch that. Let's make this thing called tissue. Tissue paper for our tissues. I don't know. There'll be someone cleverer than us.
Please write in if you know the answer to that. Please do
We
write
would
in.
like to know.
Yes.
Any more dad jokes?
And if you know, do you know? Well,
Sorry.
Do you know where eggplants come from?
I do not know where eggplants come from.
Chicken plants.
Oh dear. Poor Sprout. He's gonna.
He is in for a
He's
treat.
gonna. Your kid is gonna get so many dad jokes over the coming years.
Well, and you can listen back to these podcasts when he's older.
Yeah, he can.
So I guess we're at the end of the podcast. Unless you've got any more
No, I
updates.
have
Oh,
no other updates really, Williams. Just happy to be here.
so am I. Happy to be here. And what's the? So I guess the gnome is still clinging on to the cliff edge, waiting for news of the sprout. I suppose
That is it.
The cliffhanger.
The cliffhanger is the Sprout. How long? The cliffhanger is how long will it be between now and the next episode?
And an update on your kidney stones. Or stones, sorry. Is it kidney stone or kidney stones?
There are multiple stones in there. The doctor referred to me as a stone former. And I was like, oh, well, that's just wonderful news.
Stone former.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds pretty cool. It's like...
A stone? Is that like a original Flintstones version of the Transformers or
it
something?
could be. I mean, if I ever do fulfill my dream of becoming an amateur wrestler, I really should be known as the Stone
Rock
Former.
in disguise. Rock, you're the Rock in
I'm
disguise.
the Rock in disguise. Why, I'm the Stone Former. What is your special move? The Crusher. It could be anything, couldn't it? Now, my special move could be called the Camphrax, which is the
what?
Camphrax, the drug that's used to loosen the tubes.
Sorry, right, yeah.
No, it's a terrible name for a finisher. I apologise, Williams. I'll let you do the jokes. Sorry, listeners. If you can think of a better finisher name for the Stone Crusher for when I do take on my amateur wrestling career. I mean, I'm just thinking about this, Williams. Leslie Ann's a lucky woman, isn't she?
Well,
A video game playing
is.
amateur wrestling wannabe.
She is a lucky lady.
She's a lucky lady.
All right, mate. That's it for episode 6.
Williams, on behalf of myself and all the listeners, for the coming weeks, we wish you nothing but love, success, and happiness. Georgie, if you are listening to this, and I don't speak to you beforehand.
Of course she's listening to
Of course
this.
she is, yes. Best of luck with the whole giving birth. You will absolutely smash it. You legend. Go forth, become parents. Enjoy the excitement and enjoy the ride. It's class. And you're both going to be, for anyone who doesn't know Williams and Georgie, they're going to be such good parents. So just go ahead and smash it.
But they've heard the dad jokes, Greg.
They've heard the dad jokes. Your wife to be, your fiance, is an absolute legend. You're a legend. It's going to be grand. Sprout's a very lucky boy. And
you've heard from the future mother-in-law as well.
And we've heard from the future mother-in-law, who's also a legend.
Soon to be grandma.
The ass kicking she has done over the last few years, unbelievable. So, just all of you enjoy it. It's going to be class.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Night, night.
Night.
I'm anxiously.
For those of you who've never listened to before, Sprite,